I wanted to just take a moment and kind of set a little bit of the scene of where we are. One of the things that I think makes Washington, D.C. such a great place to do business is our central location. So we are right smack dab in the middle of the East Coast of the United States. Why that's important. You have about a third of the population of the United States within a 4-hour drive time of your business. So what that means, lots of access to customers. Additionally, right here in DC, we are just a few blocks from the White House, as Derek mentioned. And I think that it's important to know that we also have that connectivity. So we have one of the fastest growing international airports here in Washington Dulles, which many of you likely arrived in through. Through Washington National Airport, we have connection to many of the domestic markets, and then through Baltimore Washington International Airport, we also have increased access. So those 3 major airports means that you're going to be able to get back to your home offices, to your clients quicker and faster. We're also connected via regional rail here on the Amtrak, again, allowing you that connectivity that I think really makes this such a central hub for business. And I want to get hyper-local for a second and focus on the Golden Triangle bid. So the Golden Triangle bid is where we happen to find ourselves today. A bid is a business improvement district here. So as you've been walking around DC, I'm sure that you've noticed the sidewalks are clean. There's beautiful trees planted. That's all part of the work of our business improvement districts. And this is really the commercial hub of Washington, D.C. So there's 34.5 million square feet of commercial office space here. We have companies representing more than 65,000 jobs in the majority of high-value sectors. We're home to major universities like George Washington University, plus 6 additional top-tier universities with satellite facilities. You're right down the street from the World Bank and the IMF. And within a mile, there's nearly 90% of the 65,000 residents in this area have a bachelor's degree, making it one of the most educated areas in the nation. So you're really drawing from an incredible pool of talent when you locate here who want to live and work close together. So why Washington, D.C.? When you're thinking about locating your business, be in the place where the news is made. So every day you're reading the papers about what is happening here. And so why not be here, help impact that conversation, impact the direction of your industry and your business. And so Washington, D.C., we are a small but mighty city/state, hopefully a state someday soon, just 68 square miles, sharing borders with Maryland and Virginia. I think something unique to note about us is that we are a relatively flat government structure. Because we're not a state, our mayor operates in a similar capacity to our governor, and the city council kind of operates as a legislator. What that means for you, though, is that there's only really one set of decision makers to go through. So instead of going through, when you're working with a state, something like you'd have to bring your deals through the House of Representatives, through the Senate. Here, it's a much quicker and much more streamlined process, just allowing that kind of ease of business. Our metro area, home to 6.3 million people, and that population is very young. So when you're thinking about your workforce, around 28% of our population is aged 20 to 34, compared to just 20% nationally. And then, as I mentioned, our government structure. But don't just take my word for it. A few accolades up here around why we're such an incredible place to do business. One of the strongest economies in the U.S., #1 in human capital, #1 innovation, top tech talent market, most educated, best place for a tech career. All of these accolades really come together to paint a picture of what our ecosystem is, which is an incredibly diverse, talented body of workers who want to help your ideas go further, farther. And so we're incredibly excited to have you all here. And then I'd also love to point out, we are the sports capital. So if you're a bit of a sports fan, we have the NBA, the NHL, Major League Soccer, the National Women's Soccer League, the WNBA, and most recently announced, the Washington Commanders, the NFL team, looking to come back here into Washington, D.C. in just a few years, in the largest private investment into Washington, D.C. ever. So momentum is on our side, and certainly we want you to be a part of that story as well. But it's not just the people that make Washington, D.C. great. In our region, we're very fortunate to have 25 Fortune 500 companies located in the region, some of which I think you might have heard of, like Amazon, Marriott, Northrop Grumman, Capital One. And all of these folks are plugged into our local ecosystem, which can be an incredible asset for you as you're thinking about growing and scaling your business. And to drive that business, we also have an incredible university ecosystem here, really anchored by our universities here in the district: Georgetown University, George Washington University, American University, Catholic University, Howard University. The list goes on and on. We're lucky to have over 25 universities just in our region. And then increasingly, universities from around the globe are opening satellite campuses here in Washington, D.C. So Johns Hopkins University just bought a brand new building, University of Southern California, Texas A&M. And so our education advantage continues to grow as we bring more and more of these universities into the region. And a little bit more on that education. We're looking at 4.1 million people, half of which have a bachelor's degree, number 7 in the world for human capital by Oxford Economics, and around 110,000 degrees conferred each year within the region. And then lastly, I want to leave you, before I turn it over to Sara, with a little bit about us as an international city. So I think one of the things that makes Washington, D.C. such a unique place is the fact that in our DNA, we are an international city. So 1 in 5 people in this region are born outside of the United States. We have over 100,000 immigrant entrepreneurs who reside in this area. We are home to 177 plus embassies, the most in the world outside of Brussels. We've got our 3 major airports, over 168 languages spoken here. So again, as you're coming in to start your business, know that you're in a community that welcomes immigrant entrepreneurs, who wants to be able to invest in your vision and your dream. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sara to talk a little bit about our growth agenda.
Thank you so much, Kathrine. Hello, everyone. My name is Sara Adams, and I serve as, I'll move over here. And I serve as the Director of Business Attraction and Expansion on the Business Development team at the Deputy Mayor's Office for Planning and Economic Development. And before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who stuck around with us today and extended your stay to join us for our spin-off event. I hope you had a wonderful week at Select USA, and we're looking forward to the rest of the day with a really, really great packed agenda full of wonderful sessions. So with that said, DC's position as as an international hub, and also as one of the most educated cities in the United States, with our global and world-class institutions that you've heard about earlier today, is a strategic advantage that we'll continue to lean into as a city. We're focused on accelerating the growth of high-growth sectors to create opportunities and to continue to attract high-skilled talent. When we launched our economic development strategy a few years ago, it was clear that diversifying our economy was a top priority, but that just serves as one pillar. We also identified several other critical areas to the city's long-term success and growth, which include expanding affordable housing solutions, also bolstering our unique culture and entertainment offerings, and fostering an inclusive environment where all residents and businesses can thrive in Washington, D.C. So our growth agenda is truly making D.C. a place where not only people want to, but can live, work, play, and visit. Next slide. So 3 sectors that have historically made up the cornerstone of DC's job market are called our feds, eds, and meds. They'll continue to be an important part of our economy, and really a foundational part of our economy. But in addition, as we continue to press forward in our efforts to diversify our economy, we're focusing on accelerating the growth of these target sectors. We've seen natural growth already, and we'll continue to lean into that. And these sectors, we know we have a competitive advantage in. So it's based on our talent, our robust ecosystem, and opportunities where there are truly areas to grow in. So we'll continue as a city investing in these particular sectors, and some examples of some of the investments that the city is continuing to make are through programs like the DC Venture Capital Fund, the Vitality Fund, and the Growth Fund, which is another program that we're looking to launch here in the next couple of weeks that we'll be sharing some more information about soon, so be on the lookout for that. But we're really looking to, again, grow these particular sectors. And for example, again, DC is emerging as a tech hub. We'll have a few leaders from our tech ecosystem here today to talk a little bit more about that. So we're excited to continue really truly bolstering these sectors. And so I mentioned some of the investments that we're continuing to make in the city through some of the programs like the Vitality Fund and DC Venture Fund. Washington, DC Global Soft Landing is one of those other programs and initiatives that we've launched really as a way to get you here. And so this is a collaborative initiative that launched across several local economic development partners. Many of them are here in the room today. And it's a way to make it easy for international businesses to land here in Washington, D.C. There are several benefits that are offered through the program, but when we think about it, it's really across 3 pillars. So access to discounted flexible space here where you are right now in studio, access to immigration solutions, and then also access to our network here and our local ecosystem in DC to really make it easy, again, for you to integrate into the community and really make it easy for you to start your business. So when we launched the program or the initiative, we really started out with 2 signature programs. One called the Penn West Global Soft Landing Program, which is your pathway to the flexible discounted co-working space here in studio, and then the other program, which is called the George Washington Penn West Global Build Fellowship, which is access to a cap-exempt H-1B visa. And we'll have our partner through this program here later today, so he'll speak a little bit more about that program. One of the other exciting offerings that we launched recently, and we'll hear from him momentarily, is we've brought on some extra capacity to help really provide some more technical assistance to the program and really help with building connections within the community, such as providing business development support and also providing additional hands-on support as you continue to grow here in DC. And so the application process and the eligibility for the program is pretty simple for the most part. Really, we're looking for you to establish a presence here in DC within the next 12 months, have a minimum commitment to this space for at least 3 months, and then, of course, a proven ability to pay rent. So the process is pretty simple. We do an intake, you submit an application, you'll receive an acceptance letter, and then you move in. And so there's several resources that are available through the program, and we're happy to share these with you after. But again, this is just a way for you to plug into the ecosystem and really begin starting to grow your business here in DC. And so with that said, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Patrick, who is one of our new partners on the Soft Landing program, and he'll speak a little bit more about his offerings.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning. It's still morning, right? Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Patrick Dine, and I run a company called PSD Global, which is a 25-year-old consulting company that was started in a basement not far from here. Most of what we do is we work with companies who are expanding internationally from 60-plus countries, hundreds of companies, so I have a little bit of experience with soft landing and with coming into the U.S. A lot of what I've spent my career doing, and my colleagues have done, is to help companies come to the U.S. and succeed in the American market. And I almost always recommend Washington, D.C. as an ideal location for that particular company because, as you heard earlier, not only are many of your potential customers, partners, talent pool, it's all here, but you also will feel very comfortable in the Washington, D.C. area because you've got embassies, a lot of international diasporas, and restaurants and so on. So it's a great place to have your presence and launch. And you'll also very quickly everywhere else. So if you have a meeting in New York, you can take the high-speed train, you get there in less than 3 hours, right? So that's an incredible location. If you look at a map of the East Coast, Washington, D.C. is located really, really strategically for getting everywhere, right? You need to go down to Miami, you need to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, wherever it may be, you're quickly there and quickly back here. So I've recommended successfully Washington, D.C. to many, many companies who then launched in the US and succeeded. Obviously, you may later on expand and have other presences, but the big question that you ask yourself at the beginning is, where do I begin? And Washington often makes a lot of sense. This is just a quick overview of some of the companies that we've worked with. You know, you may have heard of a few of them. And, you know, Akamai, for example, is an American company that provides all of the internet streaming capability for companies like Netflix and Prime Video. And most of that internet traffic actually travels through the greater Washington, D.C. area, because when the internet was originally started many years ago, a company called America Online, AOL, was one of the very first providers of internet, and all of the internet access was going through them. And now, still today, much of what you're doing online is being hosted in data centers and running through pipes that are running through this area. So it's a great, great area to be in the technology space, not only because companies like Amazon, you can almost see their office, but Google, Apple, Microsoft, they all have a very, very large presence here. So if you're at all in the technology sector, it makes a lot, and I can go on for hours about other sectors, but I won't do that. So if we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so part of what we do with the Global Soft Landing Program, I'm very honored to be asked to be part of it, is we provide services included for free to you as a participant in the soft landing program. So you get what we've done for, like I said, 25 plus years for free included in your soft landing. And that can include all sorts of aspects of market research, looking at potential customers, who are my competitors, how should I succeed in the US market, what do I need to do first, and then being introduced to potential partners, potential customers, right? And helping you with that whole process of really launching and providing technical assistance to you. And again, I won't keep you with more of that, but all of these services, which again, we've done hundreds of times, you get included in the program. So feel free to reach out to me during the day. Feel free to email me anytime, any questions you have. Again, I couldn't recommend Washington, D.C. more strongly, and this soft landing program is a really, really good, as we say in America, bang for the buck. Thanks so much, and I'll give that back.